All right, we got a few things left to do to Betty White here. I've got to make the return line off the regulator back to the tank. The injectors should show up tomorrow, hopefully, knock on wood. And then that'll take care of the complete fuel system. I do kind of want to remake this crossover line because right now it's a little tight, so we'll see. I mean, it'll work right now, but if it's gonna be better to remake it, then I'll just remake it. I do believe I can actually bolt the intake down now, but I think what I'm gonna start with is push it forward and lift it up, put the new fuel pump in it, and I might move the fuel pumps a little forward just because right now they're kind of hanging back there a little bit. So I might try to move them forward just a touch. You know, I mean, the car shouldn't go on the bumper, but if it does, I don't really want to risk it getting into the pump. So we'll move it forward and tackle that, and then probably move on to the return line. So yeah, I just whipped up this little mounting plate real quick. I mean, it seems to work really well, but yeah, I just need to move them a little further forward just so that, you know, straight line off the tire, go to the bumper, don't want them past that line. So I'm just gonna unscrew them and move them basically as far forward as I can. And I'm kind of reluctant to put them up here when they're side by side. There's not enough room. One would still be hanging down all weird, and I just want to make sure that they're both below the bottom of the tank. Alright, so I moved them forward about 2.5 inches and put some 45s on here to help a little bit more too, instead of the straight fittings where the line would kind of do one of these. It'll stay up closer. So now hopefully the first part that will hit is the bottom of the tank right there, which is perfect. It'll just rip that whole thing out of there. Will be great. We'll just use this sump as the skid plate. Yeah, because that's just plastic. It'll just push that out of the way. So perfect. So now I just have to make up these quick little lines, connect the wires for the, oh yeah, I gotta put the new pump on too. So which one of these was the bad pump? We'll never know. They both look like they're in the exact same condition. Perfect. I'm gonna assume the bad one is the one that doesn't have the wiring connected to it, because I sat that in there as mock-up, you know, hopefully. And then you can see where the return line is gonna connect right up there. So we'll just run that down with the feed line there. So I'm going to just make up these lines from the tanks to the pumps, throw the new pump in there, probably get started on making the return line, and not really sure what we're gonna do after that. Alright, I think all in all it turned out pretty decent. I don't know, at least they're not hanging like way back here now like they were gonna be when I first had them in place. So the feed side of the fuel system all done. Injector should be here tomorrow, like I said. Still have to run the return line, which I guess I will be doing in a second, just to try to get it over with. I need to drop the car down though, and we're gonna start at the engine and come back. Alright, I don't remember where we left off with the car, but I got all the fuel lines completely buttoned up. The injectors showed up, got those in. I got pretty much everything buttoned up, I think, to finally fire the car up for the first time with the entirely new setup. Right now I'm just kind of going through doing a nut and bolt check. I know I still need to put some fluids in it. Trans is empty, engine's empty. I've got some transmission fluid here. I might have to run and get some oil for it. I know I have a filter on it. I want to double check all the fuel lines, make sure those are tight. And then at that point I can throw some of the E85 I've got in it, hook the battery back up, and I think we're good to fire the thing up for the first time. It's been like 5 months since it's ran, I think. Maybe 6 months. I don't know, but it's been a while and I'm ready to hear this thing fire up. So, going to check all the fluids and everything. Like I said, nut and bolt check as much as I think needs to be checked to at least fire it up. And then we'll hook the battery up. I'm not going to throw the new plugs in it just yet. It still has the same plugs from when it was a nitrous car. But yeah, we're super freaking close. There's still some vacuum lines and stuff that I need to run, like the one to the regulator isn't done yet, but we're basically just going to let it sit here idle. Maybe if things seem good, give it a couple of quick revs, but this is just, you know, first fire, see what leaks and what doesn't kind of thing. All right, I think all that's left is put some fuel in it, hook the battery up, because I filled up the transmission and I just filled it full of oil. I do have new plug wires on the way. These ones should still work just fine. I do have plugs in the back. I don't want to put those in just yet. I don't have a catch can. The oil pressure sensor that I put in is the wrong plug. Foolish me. But I got the front cover off the turbo, so that means we should be getting pretty close to party time. I tightened all the fuel lines, so hopefully we don't have any leaks. I'm sure there will be something somewhere that I just need to reef on a little bit more, but I'm going to put the 5 gallons of E85 in the cell, hook the battery up, and then once I turn the power on and everything and turn the pumps on, I'm going to have to adjust the fuel pressure regulator because that's never been set yet. Well, no, it might be set because this was on the car when it was previously running with the Terminator X, so it might be pretty close. We'll see though, because now it's right up at the engine before it was by the axle. But yeah, assuming there's nothing that I overlooked, which is super possible, this thing should be real close to making some noise. Just gotta fill the tank up. Probably only going to put a couple gallon or so in it for right now, you know, just in case I have to pull any of the lines back apart. Alright, got a good gallon and a half or so in it. Got the battery hooked up. I forgot that this car has some weird like relay click under the passenger side of the dash. Don't know what that's about. There was a small dribble from one of the fuel fittings just not tight enough. That seems to be all good. Look at that. That's not what I wanted. Monitor. Multi-gauge vitals. This one doesn't have... Which one had the frickin' fuel pressure? There. Alright. Come on. Alright, we were at about 60. Let's check for any leaks. We've built up pressure a couple times now. Nothing there, nothing there, nothing there. All the injectors seem good so far, nothing there. That one's good. This is all good. This return line is all good. Oh, yep, see? There's always something. I bet it's at that Y fitting too. Gol darn it. Everything back here, there's one small dribble there, so I'll lift the car up, get those hopefully all tightened up. I think Pops is gonna come over too, and he just wants to be here for the first time it fires up. So yeah, gonna get the car lifted up, tighten those things up, hopefully that's all. And then we should be able to fire it up. Oh, we're so close, man. So close. All right, hopefully those are all tight enough now. Anything? Oh, the fuel pressure went way up.
What?
Just wondering if that fuel pressure reading is right or not.
What's this say?
111. Unplug the sensor at the front of the regulator and plug it back in. The fuel pressure regulator. Yeah. There is no way that is actually 111. I don't believe it. I choose not to believe it. Alright. I'm gonna try to fire it up. Hopefully. Oh shit, wait. Alright. See if it fires. I hope it's in neutral. Yeah. Let me put it in park. Come on. What? Yeah, just hopefully put it in park. Alright, let's see if it fires up. What?
All your clamps are on all your things.
Well, we're not going to be making boost right now, so I don't care about that. Let's see what she do. I think the battery's junk. While cranking, it was only at like 8.5 volts. Yeah. Well, I got jumper cables. We can hook it up to your truck. Alright, let's see if that's enough. And gauge is showing 12.8. Well, we got something. Huh.
Yeah, I was wondering if they had a loose wire on the starter.
It might. I just thought I was smelling something. Alright. Starter wire was a hair loose and tightened a couple more small things. I don't know. Starter wire didn't seem loose enough to justify why it was kind of cranking over weird, but could be. I could be wrong. Who knows? I'm not sure why once it did crank over and fire off, why it didn't stay running, which is weird. You wanna reach in and crank it? Huh. No, no, this is a starter that came on the car.
I mean, you shouldn't have to touch the pedal at all for it to fire up. All right, it is not the same day, obviously. Take 2, maybe even take 3, I don't know. So the battery that was in here is basically 4 years old, and when it was new, it was rated at 750 cranking amp. So I can't stand side posts, and with it being here, the positive lug was super close to the body there. So I went and splurged on this 1000 cranking amp and converted it to top post, because while it was rolling over, it was only at like 8.5 volts, maybe 9. And it was just rolling over super slow. Slammed that thing in it last night. Everything seemed pretty good there. I'm thrilled that I finally switched over to top post, because like I said, I cannot stand side post. I just topped it off with some water, found out that the water pump's leaking from somewhere. So that's what all that puddle is. We should be good to actually fire this thing up now. Fingers crossed. So I'm gonna leave you guys up here, gonna go get in the car so I can actually play with the throttle, even though I shouldn't have to. I don't think the tune's as close as it should be to like the ARC-7, just breathe on the key and it fires up. So let's see if it starts.
test out the two-step, I forgot it was hooked to the brake switch.
I forgot the two-step was hooked to the brake switch, so I had my foot on the pedal just out of instinct in case, you know, the shifter's like in gear or something, and was revving it up, hit the two-step, and I was like, fuck it, let's see how it does. It sounded pretty cool in the car. Let's see, what is that noise? I think it's just some of the water dripping from things. Oh, we're losing the belt. All right, not a huge deal, not a huge deal. It runs, it gets on the two-step. The tune is still so far off, but it at least fires up now. But yeah, I had to, it would sit there and idle, but it would, I don't know, things are just weird. But it does actually fire up, and now we are at the point of just all the little odds and ends here and there. Like boost controller, I still have to put the meth nozzle in the intake. I got to put the air temp sensor in the intake too. You know, things like that. Catch can, coolant overflow, just all the dumb little stuff. I still have to run the switched power wire for the trans brake and stuff to that little fuse block for those, so that the bump box and everything is powered up, because that's all on its own dedicated fuse block or power distribution block. But yeah, it fires up and we finally got over that hurdle. So that's the kind of thing that you need to have the motivation to keep going with a build, especially one that's been kind of fighting you recently. So yeah, man, I'm pretty stoked. I might get a different turbo for it. We'll see. And by might, I mean I may have already committed to buying it. So yeah, I need to update the to-do list. I hate the motor plate. I'd like to actually go back to a traditional motor mount. It especially makes me nervous because I don't have a mid plate or any of the bat wings or anything off the transmission, so it's a lot of stress on the bell housing. Not ideal. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. I'll see you next time.